A lot of women out there are fed up. They are tired of being in a relationship with men and the drama that comes with it. They want to be left alone. But a lot of men are not understanding the reason behind that, even when the reasons are very obvious.
So I love this. Can you talk about why women seem to be much happier living single than men are? As for the comparison, I'm going to take some time on that and reflect, and then I'll make another video. But actually, I would love to hear those stories from the people who are living them. I'm a great believer that being vulnerable and sharing our stories helps to empower and validate other people that are going through the same thing. And I think these stories would be best told by those women. So I'd love to hear, like, why are you so much happier single? What is it about a relationship that you found so exhausting and disappointing? Is there anything you miss about being in a relationship? How long have you been living single? Is there anything that could get you back into a relationship? How are your physical and emotional needs being met while being single? These are all great questions, and I would love for women to stitch this video.
I have a theory as to why so many women are single nowadays and struggle with men. It's because we don't have father figures and we don't have arranged marriages. Typically, what I've realized is that when women are put in a position where they're picking the men, they make terrible decisions. Because since women are emotionally erratic and dictated by their emotions, they're going to go with the guy that can stimulate their emotions the best. Well, what stimulates female emotions? Well, we know this from psychology. It's men that are neurotic, men that have Machiavellian traits, men that are toxic, sociopaths, etc. Women are attracted to these traits because what does this outline? The bottom line is the guy doesn't give a about the girl.
Yeah.
Women are attracted to men that don't give a about them. Yeah. However, the problem is that though this guy arouses you, he's not a good long-term partner. The nerd who pedestalizes you and makes you feel like a princess even though you don't deserve to be because you haven't done anything to earn that for that guy, right? You don't respect that guy because he's pedestalizing you for nothing more than the fact you have a vagina. But the toxic guy, he don't respect you at all, but you go ahead and you go with that guy because he's not pedestalizing you.
I don't agree with Myron's theory from Fresh and Fit. I think that's what his podcast is called. Before I talk about his point and his theory, what do you think about the very first clip? If you're single and you decide to be single and stay away from men, what are your reasons? How are you coping? Share with us in the comment section. A lot of women out there are tired of being in a relationship with men, even in marriages with men. You sharing your experience in the comment section might be you helping one or two persons that truly needs it. Thank you. Let's talk about Myron's theory. He said he has a theory towards why women are single. And according to him, a lot of women are single because they are making the wrong decision when it comes to picking a man. And he said the reason why women are picking wrong men is because they don't have fathers in their life or they are not practicing arranged marriage. So he believes that practicing arranged marriage is the best way for women to choose the right partner. Let's take it back to ancient days when this arranged marriage was a big thing, when women did not have right to make their own decision, when women's rights were taken away from them. Before I even talk about that, Myron called men, some group of men that he described, sociopaths. And being a sociopath entails you trampling on people's rights, not acknowledging other people's rights and feelings. So he was sitting in that his podcast and calling people sociopaths while he was actively practicing what he was accusing others of. For him to believe in arranged marriage, what does that mean? And what is arranged marriage all about? The woman not having the right to choose who she wants to be with. Her right is being taken away from her. So why is he accusing other men? He's equally a sociopath. He said women make terrible decisions because they make their decisions based on emotions, and they have some group of guys out there that stimulate women's emotions, and those guys that stimulate women's emotions are obviously not the good guys according to him. He said they are neurotic. Neuroticism is a personality trait associated with negative emotions. It is one of the big 5 traits. Individuals with high scores on neuroticism are more likely than average to experience such feelings as anxiety, worry, fear, anger, frustration, envy, jealousy, pessimism, guilt, depressed mood, and loneliness. He also said those men exhibit Machiavellian traits. Machiavellianism is a personality trait characterized by being cunning, manipulative, and strategic in dealing with others. Most men out there exhibit these traits he made mention of. Most men are corny, most men are manipulative, most men are game players, and the games they play are one of the reasons women are tired of dealing with them. Talking about arranged marriage, what do you think happened when women did not have the right to choose who they wanted to be with? What do you think happened to those women that were married out by their family without their consent? What do you think they were passing through in the hands of those men? Most of those men exhibited this trait he's talking about. So what exactly is he saying? What is he really saying? Talking about a nerd putting a woman on a pedestal. Who wants to be put on a pedestal? Nobody wants to be seen as a Barbie. Nobody wants to be seen as a trophy. Or they want you to look a certain way, act a certain way. They forget to acknowledge that you're also a human. They don't really treat you as a human who wants to be put on a pedestal. And he thinks it's a good thing for women to be put on a pedestal. So when he tells you you're being put on a pedestal, as a woman, you're supposed to be happy and be excited. No woman should be happy when a man puts them on a pedestal, because a lot is being expected from you and they remove that human aspect of you. When they put you in that position, they don't acknowledge the fact that you're a human and you have tendencies, you're supposed to act in a certain way. Please don't accept that from any man.
Why do intelligent women, or so many of them, remain single or prefer to be single? It's a great question. And when we're dealing with any person that's intelligent, they know themselves. They've done a deeper level of work on themselves. They have learned to love themselves. They a better boundary. In other words, they are going to own their nose. When someone unhealthy or toxic enters their life, they're not going to lean into them and say, yes, how can I please you? How can I help you? How can I support you? How can I maximize your needs and minimize mine? They have done a level of self-work on themselves. They are self-sufficient. They are less reliant on men. They aren't going to tolerate bullshit. They aren't going to tolerate games. As a result of that, they're not choosing the same kind of partnership over and over again and wondering, why is this happening? They've made the unconscious patterns and trauma in their lives conscious. They've actually equilibrated and worked with their trauma. And that really is, intelligence is a very layered conversation and a very layered concept. But when we're talking about relational intelligence and emotional intelligence in relationship, it is vested and grounded in self-love. It is vested and grounded in moving beyond the patterns of the past that have been survival patterns and into patterns of thriving. These intelligent women, and this is what I admire so much about them, are not only curious about their own lives, but they're not willing to settle. So they are happy to be single and they can find and create joy in their world outside of needing partnership. So partnership becomes a desire and a healthy partnership becomes a priority. What are your thoughts on that?
I am going to tell y'all, if a woman is single for a long period of time, we're talking about like 2 years, 3 years, haven't been in a relationship in a while, it's not because there's anything wrong with her. It's because she is intelligent, and no man can really handle a real intelligent woman. Somebody that stands on her standards, her morals, and that business. The most common mistake that every man seems to make is that they think that a woman is single because she can't get a man, and that's not the problem at all. And more than likely, this woman is being the man that she's always dreamed and wanted. So yes, she's taking herself on dates and buying her flowers and going on shopping sprees and whatnot. And a lot of y'all seem to get it confused. See, she has grown to enjoy her peace. She enjoys being alone and not having a burden of somebody else that cannot provide for her. One thing that a lot of guys don't like is a woman that knows her self-worth. See, they can't take control of her life and walk all over her because she knows what she deserves and she is not settling for the bare minimum. So yes, until a man proves to you while he is worth your time, enjoy being single because it is a luxury. But y'all stay safe.
The real reason why most women are single today is because they don't want to deal with the BS of today's man. They have realized that most of the so-called men, they are not ready for an adult woman who wants a serious relationship. Come on. You're 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 plus years old, and you are still running around here playing games. You have the mind of a child. You're still stuck in high school. Let's be honest. She is that woman, meaning that She's highly intelligent. She's strong. She's successful. And she's attractive. Why would she want to raise a man child? She is looking for someone she can create with, someone she could build with. She doesn't have time to waste.
Hello fam, how you all doing? Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe. Thank you. The key word is intelligence. Intelligent women. Women that are in the know. Women that are knowledgeable. Women that know who they are. Women that understand the world and the game men are playing. Women that have studied. Women that have taken out time to understand themselves. Women that are happy to be by themselves. Women that are not attention seekers. Women that don't feel like they need to be validated by others, by men. Intelligent women. Women that know where to channel their energy. Women that don't waste their time and let others waste their time. Men struggle to be with intelligent women, especially those men that have ulterior motive. I made mention of some certain traits that Myron spoke about. He spoke about the neurotic trait, the Machiavellian trait, and that particular trait spoke about men being manipulative, corny. A lot of men are manipulative and corny, and they have strategies that they use to use people, if you get what I mean. So women that know who they are don't take that BS. They understand the game a lot of men are out. They understand the game a lot of men are about. Men love to play games. So when you know the game, you know the player, you know the game, it becomes difficult for you to be played. And whoever that wants to play you will be frustrated because you know their next move. You understand? So because of that, a lot of men are not happy being with intelligent women. And intelligent women are not ready to take the BS from men. Hence, they're single. That's why they've chosen to be by themselves. They've chosen to be single. Being single is not a taboo. It's peace of mind. Until you find that right man, that man that is not about all this shenanigans, that man that is not about all this BS, that man that is a true human being that appreciates good woman, that appreciates women, that respects women. Until you find a man like that, ladies, women, keep doing you and keep being single. Keep being successful and keep being happy.
Men act like single is a death threat. Do you know the statistics show that women who are unwedded and unmarried are happier, and men who are unwedded and unmarried are depressed and have inflammation in their body? Do you wonder why? You wonder why? Because women are in relationships serving a man half the time. They're always sacrificing more, their body, their time, their energy, their spirit. And a man is getting catered to no matter what the circumstance is. So at the end of the day, statistically, women who are in marriages are less happy than out of a marriage, and men who are in marriages are more happy than when they're out of a marriage. And that statistic is a fact. Look it up. And there's a reason for that. So you can sit here all you want and say that that's why I'm single. Like that's a fucking the most horrible thing in the world. I've been in relationships since I've been 15 motherfucking years old. And guess what? I've been single for 4 months and I'm the happiest I've ever been.
You're not happy as you ever been because you choose the wrong men.
Nigga, I wouldn't care if I was single for the rest of my life because I love my own company. I'm really that one.
Your choices are bad, and maybe that's why the fuck you single. Your choosing ability is all
That's not what I'm saying.
Ladies, a lot of you are still single because you've become the full package. You've become smart, successful, beautiful, independent women, all the things society has pressured you to be. And ironically, that may have actually become a disadvantage or even a liability for you in dating. And this is for a few reasons. The first is because we as women are hypergamous, which means we like to date men who are on our level or above. And so the more you elevate, the smaller your dating pool becomes. There aren't as many guys you're impressed by. The second reason is you might be operating in your masculine energy because you've had to get to where you're at in life. But the men you are trying to attract prefer women who are in their feminine energy. And the last reason, as a matchmaker, I can tell you this, is a lot of guys claim they want an equal, but really what they want is an asset and a woman who makes them feel masculine. And what makes men feel masculine? providing. So if you come along and you're all these things, he might think there's nothing I can provide her with that she can't provide herself with, so he's not going to pursue you. And that might make you feel like you're going to have to settle for less or stay single forever. And I don't think you have to do either of those things. You do have solutions. The first is put yourself in environments where you're exposed to higher caliber men. A lot of you aren't doing that. The second is learn to master your feminine energy. And if you don't know where to start, I have a free video linked in my bio. Check it out. Also, maybe think about areas you were willing to compromise on. Is there wiggle room with height? Is there wiggle room with kids? Is there wiggle room with being bald or not? And the last is maybe think about hiring a matchmaker like me or someone who can really set you up with these guys. Follow me for more dating advice and good luck.
Let's talk about women practicing hypergamy. Women choosing to be with men that are on their level or above them. I've seen a lot of men on social media call women gold diggers. I've seen a lot of men accuse women to be money lovers. All they want from men is money. If you don't have money, they're not interested. It's funny how men easily forget history, how they easily forget the origin of something, the origin of this hypergamy, and they've chosen to point accusing fingers on women. Women are not the cause of it. Women did not start it. If you take it back in time, ancient days, when this whole marriage stuff started, men thought it wise to use women for their slave trade under the guise of marriage. What were they doing? They were selling women off to the highest bidder, and they were using women to run their life, all in the name of marriage. That's where they had this whole gender role, the traditional wife and gender role stuff. If you've been on this channel for a while, you should have heard me talk about a book titled A History of the Wife. The book spoke about the origin of marriage, how women became wives, how women were given gender roles, how women were asked to do some specific things at home. Their rules were clear and specified. They were shipped off to some certain men. Men could not stand on their own. They could not fend for themselves. They needed to be under a man to have an identity. They needed to be under a man to fend for themselves, to survive. That right there set the precedent for the hypergamy talk. Oh, women practice hypergamy. Let me ask us this question. If we were to be in women's shoes those days, would you want to be shipped off to a man that is broke, given that you're going to do labor for him? You're going to cater for his entire family, do the cleaning and everything. Wouldn't you want to be well fed? Given that we are still practicing what our forefathers did, a lot has not been changed regarding marriage. It's still the same mindset, the same master and slave relationship. That's what is common out there. Just a few people are practicing the partnership kind of marriage. With all that in play, would you expect women to want to be with men that don't have money? It's still the same old mindset. You need to be with someone that can provide for you, someone that has money, because you're going to still be a slave to that man. A lot of marriages out there practice the master-slave kind of thing. Men don't want to be involved in domestic chores, domestic tasks. They don't want that. They want women to do that, do the parenting and all that. They still believe in gender role. Seeing that the society still believes in that, would you blame women for wanting to go with men that have more money than them or have equal money as they do? Would you advise your friend or anyone that you know, any woman that is close to you, to go for a man that is earning less? I'm not talking about people that have a different mindset. I'm speaking based on the old marriage mindset, the master-slave relationship, because that is what is still common in our society. In as much as some men out there might want to argue and say, oh, I don't believe in that, but deep down they all want that, they expect that. Who wouldn't want that? If let's flip the role, let's flip position. Who wouldn't want to be served? Who wouldn't want to be served? Do you think everyone that does domestic chore is happy doing it? So a lot of men are happy that women are serving them. A lot of men out there are happy that the system is for them, is favoring them. So a lot of men deep down, they want that. So with all this explanation, would you expect women to want to be with men that earn less? Do you expect women to want to be with men that can't provide for them? So it's okay for women to practice hypergamy. But if you've decided to practice the partnership kind of relationship, the one that women are pushing for, then you can decide to do otherwise. But if you know you're going to do the slave and master kind of marriage, please make sure you find a man that can provide for you. I'm not saying you shouldn't have something working for you. Even if you have your own job, you have your own money, find a man that can provide for you, because it's obviously a trade by barter marriage. If you are giving him the domestic chores, catering for his household and his children, he should have the money to pay for it. That is the way I see it.
Because I want to be dainty and I want to be femme and I want to be vulnerable and I want to be affectionate. But they're so stupid.
No, 100% this, because for a generation of boys who cry out that they want the dainty, feminine princess girls, they really cannot deliver on their end of that bargain then. And yes, I could go down the rabbit hole of arguing because I don't think that men are actually naturally the better born leaders, and a lot of research is coming forward saying that women lead things like companies and whatnot more effectively than men. But at the end of the day, the reason no woman on earth was appalled or moved or shocked at all to men starting their drizzle movement in response to women is because every woman who's tried to date a man on this planet knows that most of y'all are already completely incapable of stepping up to the bat and doing those things anyway. So it's kind of like, acceptance is the first step, babe. Yes, you guys are realizing it now too. And a perfect example of this is I re-downloaded my dating apps towards the beginning of this year, and I decided to try and take it seriously this time around and really assess what I was looking for. And because I do have a lot going on in my life and I have to figure out how to fit a man or another person into that, I realized, like, I'm looking for a man independent, doesn't need a mom, isn't looking for another mom, you know, like someone who can actually like take the reins sometimes and like handle things. And my whole life I've been very like independent, we split the bill on the first date, you know, etc. And I realized maybe like I'm going about this wrong. Men are saying they want like little dainty princesses, and you know what? Being taken care of to a lot of us sounds kind of nice right about now. So I decided that the barrier to entry to getting a date with me would be that you have to ask me on a date, obviously, and you have to plan the date, and I will show up for the date. Since I've downloaded these dating apps, I've talked to a number of men, gone on only like 3 or 4 real dates. Because that's how many men like literally can't even plan a first date. That's how quickly they expect you to start pulling all of the weight in a relationship that hasn't even started yet. For example, about 2 weeks ago or so, I start talking to this boy on the apps. Great conversation, right? All green flags. And then he hits me with like, can I get your number? Let's get off the apps and let's get a date planned. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, green flag, green flag. I give him my number after like agreeing to this. I expect him to hit me with some date plans, but he opens up with some small talk, and that's fine. He mentions again, like, yeah, we should go on this date. I agree. I say we should go on this date. And then the small talk continues for some reason. No date has been planned at this point, and yet I've agreed twice that we should be going on a date. About a day or so later, as we're talking, once again, he asked me, like, would you be interested on going on a date with me? And at this point, like, red flag number 1. Sir, how many times do I have to tell you and reassure you, like, yes, you haven't even asked me out on the date yet, but you've asked me a number of times if I'd want to go on a date. That was the whole point of me giving you my number. So at this point, I respond back, I'm really confused. We've had this conversation already. Like, I've already agreed to this. Why do you keep asking me this, but not asking me on a date? And he's like, right. Oh, okay, my bad. So, like, what time maybe would you want to do it? And like, where would you want to go? What do you want to do on the date? I just stopped responding at this point because I'm like, sir, you're making me plan this whole date that you're supposed to be asking me on. Right? Red flag number 2. So I stopped responding to him. About 24 or 48 hours later, he hits me up. And he took the hint, obviously, and he says, Monday night, let's go get food. I'll text you closer to the date, a location. And I'm like, yes, 100%. Also noted, boys aren't stupid. He noticed that real quick. So Sunday rolls around and he's like, we could go get smoothies. And I'm like, that's a good idea because I like a coffee smoothie first date. But if it's after work, there aren't going to be any smoothie places open. So he and I are pitching ideas back and forth for what to do. And he says, let's go to Crisp and Green. And I'm like, okay, I would have preferred like apps at a restaurant or something, but I guess we're getting dinner at a fast food place. A little bit odd, but Crisp and Green is kind of nice salads. So sure, I agree to it. Monday morning rolls around. He texts me bright and early that he's super excited to go on the date tonight. We're talking throughout the day. An hour or 2 before the date, he texts me, oh, it's my uncle or grandpa or somebody's birthday this weekend, and I actually have to call my family tonight at 6:30, the time the date was planned, so that we can plan it this weekend. Can we push the date to like tomorrow or Wednesday? And I go, that's strike number 3, red flag number 3. Dude, No, I just respond back, I am unfortunately busy tomorrow, which I was. I had plans with my friends. And he responds back, I screwed up real bad here multiple times, huh? And I didn't respond back to any of this, because you did, dude. Like, I had to back you into asking me on the real date, then I had to back you into planning the date. I'm not going to back you into showing up to the date too, dude. So yeah, many of us would love to be like pretty princesses in a castle somewhere with just like dresses and getting our hair done all day, but if these guys can't even plan a date, how are you going to build us a castle? My life is just easier not having to manage your daily schedule on top of mine. And don't even get me started on the concerns it would raise if we were to have children together. I don't want to feel like the only parent in a house in which I'm now raising my children and also my partner.
Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Click this video to watch women speaking on reasons why they don't need men anymore. They're okay being by themselves. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.